Creativity is one of the most beautiful and exciting parts of football, and in this video we're going to go over two key components of creativity that will really help you develop it on your own and also help other people around you develop it if you're a coach or a player. So how does creativity work and grow? So for me, creativity is about finding solutions to difficult problems that lead to success and something that is unique. But this takes a lot of practice and people will definitely mess up at the start. So in this video, we're going to go over two components of creativity that you're going to work on, and you're going to become comfortable with making mistakes at the beginning and eventually becoming very, very good at the end of it to really produce creative solutions. So the first thing we have to do is develop a mindset that's okay with failing. Failing is going to happen at the start. You're not going to pick it up straight away. You're going to make mistakes at the beginning, but that is okay. We're going to talk about high performance later on because that's obviously what we want to get to, but that's not the way you start from. You don't start from being Messi. You start from that little kid who's practicing again and again and again, making mistakes, and then eventually you get to that level where you get to, which is written for you. So now we're going to go over a few practical drills and tips for you to actually build that foundation for you to become creative. So the first thing we need to think about is setting some sort of goal. So in this situation, we've got a striker, and we're just gonna try and shoot from different areas on the pitch. Now, this is just one example. You might want to shoot in different positions. That's not really the whole thing. Is I'm giving you a drill to shoot. I'm just giving you an example. So let's say a striker is practicing every day at shooting. Sorry, that's the cone. Shooting from, oh, again, that's the cone. Shooting from here, then he's shooting from here, here, here. He or she is shooting from all these situations. And what we're doing is we're developing like a volume and quality of shooting in different situations, and that is the first step we need to actually get on. Right, so what I'd give you a challenge to do is go search up any compilation of strikers' goals on YouTube. If you could look at like R9, Luis Suarez, Lewandowski, look at their goals, try and create a list of like the 5 most common types of goals you see, and just go and practice that sort of volume. So, for example, if we look at someone like Mbappe, one of his like most iconic goals for me anyway, when I think about him, it is dribbling. Right, he comes up to run this area, drops the shoulder to the right, and then cuts the ball back into this corner. Normally, we see players shoot into the far corner, but he cuts it back over here. So if you watch a compilation of Mbappe, you see that type of goal a lot. Whereas someone like Harry Kane, he scores lots of goals in and around this area, curls it into the back post. Same with Thierry Henry, back post. So practice maybe 5 or 6 of the most common goals you see online. I won't give you that in this video. I'll go over that in another video. But just practice those sort of situations. And what we're doing here is we're becoming comfortable in different areas of the pitch. Because I know the end goal is to become creative, but you have to be able to perform some level of skill in order to actually be creative. Part of being creative is being able to successfully work on that movement. And I'm not discouraging if you have ideas. If you have creative ideas, I want that, but you also have to have the skills to back up those ideas up. So if you see the pass of being able to play a pass like this over the top, you actually need to practice that as well. So we're going and practicing that right now. And again, in this situation, don't be scared of not performing well. It's about just finding your weaknesses. So if you realize that you're really good at this shot, you're really good at this shot, but on these ones where you're using your left foot more, or even here when you're cutting outside and using your left foot more, you find that you're struggling. That's just a sign that okay, I need to work on this. Be grateful that you've seen that now and you haven't seen that in the game. So don't be discouraged if you're not performing as well as you want to be. Just keep practicing, 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 using high volume. Try different drill ideas from watching clips online of different strikers score goals. So maybe one week you focus on Harry Kane and Mbappe. The next week you focus on Lewandowski and Suarez. And the week after that, you're like, I'm going to switch to wingers. I'm going to focus on Salah and Messi, and just cycle through different types of goals and just continue to work on that. And we are going to get into a couple more pieces on creativity, but first I'm just going to show you how this can work for midfield players as well. Right, and so we're just going to imagine that we're sort of playing at the back now. Right, this one doesn't really have to be here, but you're a midfielder now, you're like a number 6. So your creativity could come from practicing the volume of turns. So if you look at people like Busquets, Gravenberch, Pedri, Iniesta, Xavi, watch those clips, you'll see that players have different ways of turning. Frankie de Jong. So when they get the ball, they might take a touch inwards and turn like this, or they might get the ball and take a touch outwards as well. So I've got a video on my channel where I go over I think three or four drills that you can use to work on your turns. And in that I talk about someone like Thiago as well, who uses the outside of his foot. So we're developing that skill now. So you're going to receive the ball, how do you turn? And you can watch that video I made, or you can watch clips of other YouTubers as well. How do we turn? So it could be a Cruyff turn, it could be outside your foot. work on a high volume of those drills, and then we're going to get into the next part, which is how can you use that to become creative. So just to recap, what we've basically done here is develop the foundations and the fundamentals for some skill. So we've started to develop, not finished developing, because you never finish developing. We've started to develop the fundamentals of shooting and started to develop the fundamentals of receiving the ball, just as my two examples. So what we've done is we've practiced these fundamentals with a bit of variety and freedom, knowing that we can fail, but it's more about just learning again and again and again to reach the level that we want to get to. So now how do we use this to actually become creative? And so the second part of creativity is thinking of these solutions and being unique and finding things that are different. Being creative would be being placed in a situation like this where you're like maybe in like a 2v3 and you have to somehow get past the defenders and score a goal. Being creative would be finding a way out of this situation. It doesn't mean doing something absolutely incredible, but just something different. So it could be, creative off the ball, how this person runs away and then you have a bit of an angle to shoot, or how, you delay, and then you allow that ball to be played over the top. So just a couple suggestions. So what I want you to do is go onto YouTube, go watch a game, and consume the players that you think are the best in your position, or that are at least better than you. So even if you want to watch a game outside that's not professional, watch players that are better than you and try and see the types of things they do. Try and see the types of decisions that they make. How are they creative? Okay, then I want you to watch that and try and steal that. And obviously, I'm not advocating stealing. What I'm saying is you have to steal with your own style added to it. So what we've done is we've taken your fundamentals and your ability, and now we're adding that to the player's creativity at a higher level than you. And you're trying to combine these things together and put your own spin on that. So one of the situations is like a clip of Mesut Ozil, Aubameyang, and Lacazette scoring a goal. And what happens is that I think it's Aubameyang or Lacazette. They get the ball, they let it run through their legs. Ozil then flicks it over the goalkeeper, and then someone scores. Right? So let's say you've watched that on TV. I've watched that on TV, and you're like, okay, I want to try that. So then you know, see that on TV, and then you try and take that into your own game. So let's imagine now we've got like a 3v3, and you're this player, and you're about to receive the ball. But instead of taking that touch, you also let it run through your legs and let this player get it. Now the situation is different. You're not Ozil. You're not playing in the Premier League, but you've still done something creative. But we can't say that you take full credit for that. You've seen that and you've added it to your own game with the abilities that you have. So that's sort of the essence of creativity that I'm getting at in this video. There are other ways we're going to talk about it in the future, but it's more about just finding different solutions from stuff you see on TV. So I want to be clear, we are obviously talking about like developing creativity. The main thing alongside this point is that you have to actually practice it in lots of different situations and different environments. Because creativity, yes, we see it from TV and sport, but it's something we have to like sort of learn in our environment and through experience. So definitely try and practice this in as many places as you can. So if we're going to use this example of Mesut Ozil, try lots of different things, try things that you don't even see on TV, just try lots of things together by themselves in different environments, and you'll slowly begin to filter out what works, what doesn't work, and then you have to take that into your games, into your more high pressure situations to produce something more creative and effective. So it doesn't have to be football, it could be like basketball, it could be tennis. You might see someone's footwork is quite very unique and you incorporate that to get past someone. Something like that. You can take creativity from anywhere. You can look at that and try and incorporate it into the game with your own skills. So that is it for this week's video. We didn't do a crazy deep dive into creativity, but I just want to let you guys know this is a topic that I really, really hold deeply in my heart in terms of how I want to play football, the teams that I like to watch. So I'm definitely going to make more videos about creativity in the future, whether that is on the tactics board or when we start doing real life shows again in the summer. So really look out for that and really leave me suggestions in the comments down below if something wasn't clear or you didn't understand one of the ideas I came with, because this topic is very, very important to what I stand for in football. So really do hopefully enjoy this video. Leave any suggestions you have for me in the comments down below, and thank you for watching.